CanMar Morning Talk Show, a fresh take on what's happening in the global cannabis and psychedelic space. Your power shot of cannabis and psychedelics knowledge, featuring the industry's hottest experts, thought leaders, trendsetters, influencers, and celebrities. I'm your host, Melissa. Join me and our esteemed guests as we reflect on the current and future climate of the global cannabis and psychedelics industry. Today's guest is co-founder and managing partner of CannPort Seed to Sale Solutions, among a plethora of other things that she is working on at the moment. She is a pioneering force whose knowledge of cannabis and the industry is unparalleled. Brittney Guthrie.
So Britt, let's start off with your cannabis story. Can you tell everyone a little bit how you got into the industry, how that proverbial cannabis bug bit, and what your backstory is?
Yeah. Well, I think like a lot of people in the industry started young, probably high school, about 15. Started smoking weed and a lot of us, we fell in love with it and we started growing our own plants and selling it and just it was just this little cool community of little stoners and it became such a passion. It was more than just for fun. Like we were really, really passionate about it. And then from there I just kind of explored the world of cannabis until about 18 years of age, 18, 19. And then I started, I kind of left the cannabis world and went into business development. But I'm from Vancouver Island, so it was an absolute blast over there. And you knew about sativa and indica. You were passionate about different strains, and cannabis was almost like a currency there. You traded stuff for weed and everybody came over and tried the different strains and different bongs. And yeah, it was fun. We used to make all our own accessories, like little gravity bongs and lungs and all the things that are absolutely horrible for you. But you do what you got to do as a kid, right? You got to be creative. So
once in high school, we made a bong out of a Pringles can.
Oh my gosh, amazing. Yeah, we did the one that was probably the most memorable. It was about 4 feet high, just out of PVC piping. And so you'd stand up on the bed and you'd be ready to take your hoot and somebody would be down on the floor lighting it for you. And it was just horrific and ugly, but it was really fun. It was really fun. So I have such an amazing, fond memory of getting into cannabis and being able to be exposed to some of the best weed, I feel that's out there, coming from all the little islands off of Vancouver Island too. And just, I mean, it was amazing, but it wasn't really like a feasible career path in my mind that I could really go down. So, when I became a young adult, I gravitated away from it for a little while. It didn't last forever, but it's just, yeah, I think it's funny when I look back on my life, I'm like, I knew what I was meant to do, but it was just not one of the options on the aptitude tests, you take in high school.
Yeah, for sure.
I kind of kept ruling it out, thinking this isn't really long term. This, I'm trying to build a future for myself here. And yet, I just came full circle back to it. And I'm like, I was a smart kid. I really knew what I was meant to do.
You knew
so
back then.
that's sort of the beginning, is just really, I fell in love like 16 years ago now. So I've been smoking it and enjoying it and creating products and selling it at whatever form. And it's been so amazing. Like I'm okay that it has completely consumed my personal life. I'm okay with that for now.
So tell me a little bit about all the businesses that you're involved in. I know you're a very busy woman. You have a new project that you're working on as well, but talk a little bit about your current cannabis journey, if I can put it that way.
Okay, perfect. So when I came back into the industry, I it actually started out really odd. I was just looking for retail locations for a gentleman who wanted to open up cannabis stores. And I don't do real estate at all, but I like a challenge. I like a treasure hunt. So I thought, let's go for it. And this is maybe an opportunity to come in back and do some legal, real pioneer kind of stuff with the new cannabis industry. So I started looking for locations, and I ended up finding a couple in Nanaimo, which is my hometown, which was lovely, and in Vancouver as well. So after that, it was just looking for locations, and then what do we do with these locations, and how do we build them out, and what does a store even look like? As a millennial, my first instinct is Google it. You can't Google something that does not exist. So, is it the jewelry store concept? Is it a grocery store concept? Is it boutique-y, or is it basket style? Like, what do we put this stuff in? What is it even going to look like? Like, everything was a question, and everything was the unknown. And that is sort of where I believe I thrive. I love starting new businesses. I love taking someone's dream and really bringing the concept to fruition. And so this was just fun, but everything was a question. And of course, with all the rules and regulations with Health Canada, they really leave you in the dark. And unfortunately, it's hard to have open conversations with them, because they're all learning their role as well. Like, we're all new here. So no one really wants to say, yes, you can do that. It's really hard to get that. Yes.
And how often do you get to, really start something from scratch, in this day and age? So that's really exciting.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. Like, and I remember my first Lift Expo, and just like jaw dropped the floor, and I'm looking around and just meeting all of these amazing people and all these brands and retailers and just, growers and seeds and lights and soil and everything else. And that's when I was like, okay, this is my Google opportunity here, is to see what is this, get as many business cards as possible, and meet as many reps as possible, and start understanding what are the common denominators between all of these entities, and what's going to work here, and how to build the store based on that, and what I've learned from these different companies, because trying to find those things that are really consistent throughout this industry can be difficult. So that's fun, is that every business meeting was totally different from the next. We're all just trying to figure out what is acceptable. How do we keep the culture alive but still be professional? So it was really fun. And so that retail aspect of it, and working with bud tenders and running the stores, was really fun. But it wasn't enough. I really wanted to do more for this industry, make more of an impression. And so I realized that as much as I've gained knowledge from that level, I wanted to kind of keep going up and explore, the products and what that looks like, the packaging, why things look the way they do, why are people making the choices that they're making, and what are they stuck with, what are the rules they're stuck with. So and where can I help out and see where we can create some cool new products, or just some of the products that were really good before that we just need to bring back. So that's where my passion kind of evolved into, and it became kind of product development and sales and distribution, and just talking to bud tenders and buyers and LPs across the country, and just exploring where I could see myself fitting. So that has been the last, I want to say, year and a half. And I still get to work with retailers, but it seems I've definitely found myself a little more behind the scenes, and I love it, but I miss being around lots of people and the networking events and talking, visiting stores and that cultural aspect. So as I was doing product development, my business partner and I, we started our own company. So we started CannPort, which is a marketing and business development whatever you need done gets done agency, you know. So we're those ladies, you know, we get the dirty work done. I love my business partner, Constance Shaw. She's amazing. She always says, you know, if you want something done, ask a busy person. And so we are busy people, but we keep adding to the plate. It's insane. So we started that, obtained our marketing license, and then joined Weed Pool. I don't know if you've ever heard of Weed Pool. They originated in Saskatchewan. When everything opened up, they had direct sales immediately. There was no government entity or any sort of wholesale distribution created. So a bunch of retailers got together and you know, pooled money and became a co-op and created a mass, you know, buying power and started creating their own wholesale site, basically. And so they do actually sell to non-members as well in Saskatchewan, but there is a core group of them that will still receive, you know, annual dividends and vendor benefits and all that good stuff. So a very, very community-minded approach to business, the more familiar side of cannabis that I know. And so we're very lucky when direct sales happened in BC. You know, it was great that it happened, but it was a bit of a logistical nightmare.
Of course, I can imagine.
Like trying to find each other out there in this universe, let alone trying to make all these invoices and stock days work between, you know, your customers coming in expecting, you know, specific days where you get specific products. It's kind of hard to do that when you're getting invoices any day, any minute of the week. So anyway, Weed Pool saw an opportunity to help and grow and expand across the country. And so very lucky that we partnered up with them, as well as the BCCFC, which is a BC Craft Farmers Co-op. They take care of the micros and the small standard processors and producers. RCCBC, so that's the Retail Cannabis Council of BC, and they take care of a lot of the legislation and advocacy and education and just overall, I think, sort of network connection. They do a lot of really great events, and they're just a fantastic group of people to work with. So they joined as well. And then Western Cannabis, which is our processing partner. You know, we're able to have a facility in Prince George to bring all of these amazing products from micros and small standard processors and producers to this warehouse, and then create that sales portal for our retailers. So we're in the midst of signing members up and getting everybody going and signing vendor partnerships up, which thank you, CanMar, for being one of them. It's really cool that we get to just sort of keep growing this community of amazing groups, and just it really gets to not only create a really, you know, feasible way of operating direct sales in BC, but this is some really powerful people that are you know, advocating for a better version of this industry, and we're all just trying to get together and create this stronger voice. So I think that this is going to be so much more than just annual dividends and vendor benefits. You know, that's fantastic, but I think, you know, to take this concept national and be able to provide, you know, a whole list of SKUs that are not available to the BCLDB, you know, and really help our members diversify their products from the people that are literally kitty corner from them. I did an RV tour this summer, and I visited as many stores in BC and Alberta, and like Alberta, they're literally across the street from each other. There's 3, you know, side by side. The municipalities and the provinces, you know, created different rules around, you know, where retailers can be and how close they can be and all that fun stuff. So unfortunately, you are seeing the little private and independent stores disappear because you've got these bigger guys coming in, like the Canna Cabanas and stuff. And how do you compete with 80-90% off accessories? Like I bought way too many weird glass like bong bowls and things from there because I was like, this is amazing. And so I was like bags full leaving that store, and I'm like, how do you compete with that? So rather than competing, let's diversify. Let's not focus on competing anymore, right? Let's not try and knock cent pennies down and create all these Me Too products. Like, let's start diversifying. So, this co-op is that solution in so many ways. So between, playing with products and selling products and just like, still trying to work in the retail space a bit and just be a part of all these different advocacy groups. It's a busy life, but I think, it's amazing to feel this passionate about something, and like, really, I feel so humbled that I get to work with such inspiring people that I was just like a little wee munchkin when I came into this industry, thinking, oh my God, who are these amazing men and women that are like standing up for all of these things that I believed in for so long, that I've never been able to find my own voice for. And so it's so cool that we can do that, and it's legal, and people want to learn and they want to hear about it. It's you don't carry such a heavy shame anymore about it, and I love that. I really love that about Canada, and BC especially BC. It's a great province.
That's awesome. I love that. And I really like that idea of not competing, rather working together, because I mean, this is still an emerging industry. Yes, things are changing and evolving, but it's still emerging and we need to work together. So I really, really love that. I think that's so important. And it's so great that you have that kind of community spirit in BC. That's really amazing. And the RV tour sounds amazing. I mean, sign me up.
It was so fun. I, dropped off goodie bags. I brought my dog with me, and it was just really incredible. And just, if you ever have a doubt in your mind about where to go next in your business, like, go talk to some bud tenders, because they have all the answers. They're the ones really cultivating these stories of how the industry is evolving. They hear, they're the open ear and the funnel between what consumers are looking for and what we should be doing. So, it was just like, it was so educational and informal. And again, you're just looking for the common denominators across the board. So, excuse me.
I think that's really amazing. And there are so many moving parts in this industry, as you said, when you first start in this industry, which is something I realized, at the beginning of the year, I didn't realize how many moving parts there were. And going to events and speaking to people, you realize how many things there are going on. So it's very interesting to learn more about all of those things. And one of the other things you're involved in is the per can farmer, correct? Can you talk a little bit about that and what that's doing? You are working on that with Constance as well, correct?
Yeah. So I can delve. I'd love to delve more into the product side. I kind of skipped over it a little bit. Got excited about Weed Pool. So it's Pure Can Pharma. They're in Quebec, and they actually just recently purchased Neptune. Or sorry, not Neptune, but the cannabis brands underneath it. So okay. Mood Ring, which I believe, I would say a lot of people are familiar with their capsules. They did very well in BC, and they've done well in Canada. So it's really cool that we just, obtain this exciting brand that I've been following for years. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, awesome.
Doing some great vape products, and soon with Mood Ring as well. And I think, as far as like your 70s groovy, like, that stoner era vibe goes, Mood Ring just really captures that, which I love. So that's a fun brand to play with. The other two, well, there's a few brands actually that Pure Can has created. Tiche is one of them, which is very, very wellness focused. It's available in a few provinces across the country. And we're actually just, we're starting to put all these products into the market. So unfortunately, BC is one of the only ones we haven't, we're working on, but all the other provinces have already started to purchase SKUs and all of that. But we've got Tiche, which is very wellness, is oils, capsules, things like that. And then we have Uvi, which is CBD, CBN, CBG, with THC as well, but very, very wellness, medicinal focused as well. There's actually an Uvi medical line for people who are able to obtain it that way as well. So it's nice that, you can, if you're in a store and maybe they try Uvi and they are able to order online and get it, covered with insurance, they can at least do a little, they can try it in the store if they want, or they can go directly online, but it's nice to just sort of have that transition if they so choose. There is a little bit of different products between the two brands as well. Like, I think things like suppositories and things like that will focus more on the medicinal line, unless there's a demand for it in the recreational market, which would have to be enough of a demand. But I think that, that's where I want to see those stores diversify, and that's, we need to create the right environment for people to go purchase those type of intimate products. Anyway, and then Alopa, which is the THC space themed brand. It's Apollo backwards. That's all just THC products, no other cannabinoids. And that's going to be sort of the recreational fun line. So oil, capsules, flower, concentrates, we are exploring pretty much any format, gummies, and it's just a fun brand to work with. So that one's exciting. But I mean, back to Uvi, I think being able to play with CBG and CBN, it's cool, and I'm excited to see us explore into more cannabinoids. Like, I'd love to see more CBC and THCV and at least the big six, right? But yeah, I think there's so much to explore, and with a company like PureCan Pharma, they have the capability, they have the capacity as well to really start further exploring, these exclusive cannabinoids and provide it across the country in large quantities, right? There's a lot of demand for a good night's sleep. So, there's going to be, there's no limit to how much CBN we need to be getting out into this world. Everyone deserves a good night's sleep. So, if that's something that you're passionate about, or you want some, like, a more consistent style product, and you're looking for those oils and capsules and more medicinal familiar formats, that's going to be more that Uvi and Tiche brands that PureCan offers. And that's really, that's their specialty. They've been taking care of people for a long time. Their company is still a cycle, and so they have a ton of, I don't even know how many brands they have, and that's their focus, is wellness and medical and just high grade products. So I'd love to give you more information about it. I don't want to take up too much time. I could go further into detail about the products, but I do have other product brands I could talk about too. Yeah, there's another brand called Jubilee, and that's really fun. They're all organic fruit bars, so super healthy. A lot of locally sourced products. It's the alternative to chocolate and gummies on the shelf. And this is where, again, like, I'm more passionate, where you start to diversify your products and you start giving people options. You want to actually hike and have a little THC and CBG in your bar. This is a great little snack for that, especially people who are really health conscious, or just genuinely don't like candy and chocolate. Like, we need to start exploring other formats. And I think being able to justify the price point that it's a beneficial snack with or without the cannabinoids, it makes me feel a little bit better about charging that certain price point, because at the end of the day, we're paying a lot for gummies. We're paying a lot for cookies and things like that, when I could go to the bakery and get a delicious cookie for like $1.52, and smoke a joint instead. So it's trying to find those products where we can kind of justify the price points that we're coming in at as well, offering a real food item, a real little snack item. So that's really cool. There's blueberry lavender and cherry cocoa, and
sounds amazing.
yeah, some funky ones. Yeah. And then there's some other exciting stuff that's already selling in other places in Canada as well, Ontario and Quebec and Alberta and Saskatchewan and et cetera. But protein powders, that is going to be coming to market hopefully soon. There unfortunately is a little resistancy with the BCLDB. I think they don't love exploring those types of products. I can't really speak for them. I can only kind of assume, because it's a very much no interest kind of answer. You're not going to get a lot. And so, yeah, I think that's where we just need to gravitate people towards the idea and get a little bit more support and say, hey, BC, I think this is something that people could benefit from, like a CBD protein powder, a super greens blend, like anything that enhances that wellness and holistic side of the store and stops competing with things that already exist. So that's a really cool project. And then I think the last one, if I'm not forgetting anyone, that's not good. If I'm not forgetting anyone, the last one is a really cool rechargeable, fully recyclable, disposable vape. And it actually is very cool. It looks like one of those little USB chargers. So you flip it up, take your little hoot and flip it back down. Yeah, it's really, really cool. Hang on, I can show you.
Yes, please.
So it's called the Mini. It's cute name.
That is so cute.
The one. There's two here. These are just prototypes, so they're not the official. They're just as we were going through our little journey. So
I love it.
It's funky, right? And so they will be fully recyclable as well. Like you'll be able to take it apart and finish that off. I really like that gunmetal black though. I think that's just very.
It's super elegant, and I think it's as a vape lover myself, I really love this. I think it's such a great idea.
Yeah. Well, and I mean they're coming in at a fair price point as well. I love that it's been a few years and we've been fortunate enough to watch other companies sort of be the trial and error of of products and what works and what doesn't work. And so now you're seeing these companies come in and they've got a solid plan and they know who to watch and they know what numbers they're shooting for. They understand the excise taxes and how, some products work in some provinces and they will not work in other provinces. Like those taxes hit differently wherever you go. So it's it's a good product. It'll be a good price point, and it's slick. Like it's cool. It's very cool.
It's very slick, very elegant in a way as well. So I really like that. And I really love this idea of moving towards, more of this wellness kind of idea as well. And also the sustainability, that vape is completely recyclable. And I just think that's a great way to move because, as you said, it's gummies, brownies, cookies. It's not really the most healthiest of products out there. So I really like this whole health kind of centric view. And this is something that's important to you personally, right? This is something that you are quite an advocate for, is wellness in the cannabis industry, correct?
Yeah, I actually during my 20s, during my business development stages, I opened different types of businesses, but one of them that I specialized in was spas and beauty bars and things like that. So I actually have a lot of experience with like skincare and body treatments and nervous system and massage and just mud and goop and everything that comes with that industry. So it is a big part of just my life in general. And I actually think a lot of that is the island life as well. I was around a lot of kind of, hippie granola people and we loved our quinoa and all of that. And we had a million pets and, we had our own chickens or whatever. Like it was very islandy living. And so you made your own skincare and it was just lots of essential oils and that kind of natural stuff. So it was just a bit of a way of life, I think, for me. And so running spas, opening spas, designing services and treatments and making people feel good it was just amazing. I miss it a lot, actually. I'd love to find a way to like merge those worlds a little bit more, but you have to tread lightly, very lightly. Yeah.
Of course. And, of course, with somebody with marketing savvy and attention to all of these kind of industry trends, have you noticed any particular challenges when it comes to marketing cannabis and cannabis brands, particularly online? What are some of the challenges been for you personally in that respect?
Sorry, to clarify, you in a marketing aspect, like
Yes,
just
yes,
trying to
yes.
yeah, I mean, there is a lot of challenges, but I think if you're like, you got to get really creative, you know, and obviously focus more on an experience, because you can't get medicinal in the stores. That's just, you can't. You can listen and you can say, you know, based on your story and similar other stories, you know, I think maybe this product would work for you, but you have to tread very lightly. So that aspect is completely out for marketing. As far as being, you know, fun and funky, like you can't really do the whole cartoon and person or reference, or, you know, indicate any way of life in your marketing and branding. So you have to tread very lightly there. Like if it's a picture of someone hiking up a mountain, like even that alone, you know, it's not risque, but it could be in someone's eyes. So you have to really think about, you know, every post that you do, triple check it, have the handbook ready to go. Be careful about colors, be careful about what you're trying to say, you know, what you're really saying in that messaging. And you know, and focus, I think, like for me, I try and focus more on community and experiences and the people, you know, like less about the pot all the time, because this industry is so much more than that, and it's so much more than logos and contests and tagging people and following people. Like it's so if I'm gonna, you know, do marketing materials, like I really, or try and get a brand out there, talk to people, like this is what I love to do, is just connect and bring the product with me and try it out and share it and experience it and find common ground and talk about what we want to see for the future and create an experience with people, which is, you know, it sometimes it feels easier to like make posts and just put them out in the world, but how do you guarantee, like how do you really build up those really emotional, intimate connections with people? And how do you grow your business when you don't know what kind of feedback is authentic, right? And so I think that, you know, I do depend on online, obviously, like we all do, and websites and things like that. And they're great tools, but they're never my main focus. Like I really think just getting out there, going to the events, showing up, talking to the right people, go visit the retail stores, spend time with bud tenders, bring them coffee and donuts or whatever, you know, just appreciate what they're doing and build those connections, and it's go back to old school, because that's cannabis culture for me. So for me, like that's my favorite version of marketing. Is just go there,
I think that's
be
what
there,
people are
those
craving,
connections.
right? People are
Yeah,
craving that human connection, especially post pandemic, you know.
yeah.
People are craving that human connection. So I think that's so important.
You can't use any sort of like, you know, personal reference or character in your logos and stuff. So the closest thing to like something personal is the real person themselves. And so, you know, I yes, of course, marketing comes with its challenges, but there's a million loopholes and we're all figuring them out. And you know, everybody's staying within some sort of pastel spectrum of colors. You know, and and every province is a little bit different, and what you can do with clothing and what size logo you can have on the clothing. Like you just have to triple check everything.
Yeah.
That's where most of the work goes into. I love that, you know, people are able to get a little bit creative and at least diversify themselves from the other brands. But I see that everyone is holding back serious talent. So that's unfortunate. Like I would love to see what people could do if there were less regulations and more just art, and everyone is really speaking their messages and their branding the way they want to.
Being
So, you know,
authentic,
this
yeah.
is powerful. Yeah, yeah. It's a powerful message in itself. So to, you know, limit and domesticate this branding process, it's just unfortunate, but I see why they did it.
Do you think there's room in the future for, this kind of creative exploration? Do you think that things will change in the future and there will be fewer regulations on this kind of branding? Is there a future for that, do you think?
I think so. I think that as we push the envelope on this and all, whether it's micros or retailers or marketing companies or whoever, as we start to sort of push the boundaries a little bit, and show that no harm came of it. I think that's how it's going to happen. Just as cannabis was legalized, like it's just, we need to nudge just the right amount to showcase that it's okay, that it isn't harmful, that we can explore other options, especially if it's inside a store where you can only be an adult to enter.
Exactly.
Why do if why we're not catering to children, and we're also not allowed to have children in the store? So I just don't understand why that's a limitation. Even just it saddens me just to see that Zigzag no longer has the classic old man on the packaging.
Yeah,
breaks my heart. Just I've actually like scrambling trying to find a pack that still has his face on it because I just want to keep it forever.
Yes,
frame it.
It's like a collector's item now, right?
Exactly. So I pay good money for that. But yeah, it's just, that's the way that it's going. And unfortunately, they want to sell the rollies in stores, so they had to change their packaging. And that's unfortunate. But yeah, as far as marketing goes, like absolutely a million challenges, but I think if you're in this industry, you're good at that. Like you need a little bit of challenge. You need that to keep yourself interested and motivated. Like we're not all 9 to 5 kind of complacent job job holders. Like we're a little bit rebellious, and we need change, and we need challenges. We need to be entertained, and so that's okay for now. But yeah, absolutely, I see it changing. I think that's just going to be up to us.
Yeah, I think that certainly this industry is not for the faint-hearted. It's for the adventurous thrill seekers. It is, because there are constant challenges, constant hoops that we have to jump through, and we, instead of thinking outside the box, we have to create our own boxes, in a way. So that's something that we have to do.
Yeah. The government's not just giving us all of this and slowly allowing us to have more privileges. It's just, it doesn't work like that. They need to be aware of what needs to be changed, and it needs to come from the right people, the right way. And that's why I love the RCCBC, because that's what they do. They do the surveys, they take everyone's challenges, they listen, they're the open ear, and then they transfer that to the government, and they make these changes happen. So these groups are so important, and just because cannabis became legal, it doesn't mean that the fight is over. Right? So that's why I say, like, if you want to see it change, like make the change happen. Right? I'm certainly not going to sit around and wait for them to let us explore more marketing and consumption lounges and maybe edibles that are more than 10 milligrams of THC. we have to do, well, they're exploring the Cannabis Act. So that survey that everyone, that went out to everyone, like, make sure we do it, those are important. So, because the government wants to know, and they're going to base it off statistics, what to do next. So
absolutely.
Let's make sure
people speak up. Absolutely. Yeah. And talking a little bit about, regulations and the evolution of the industry. And of course, Canada has had some ups and downs for sure. So how would you describe the current climate of Canadian cannabis, and what do you see in the next coming years for the Canadian industry?
Well, it's
to make predictions in this industry, but
I was going to say, like, every province that I've worked with has been so different. They're moving at completely different paces with things. things like swag, what can you sell, what can you not sell in your store, and what can you sell on behalf of an LP, like things like this. The fact that it's taking so long for stuff like that to happen and it's still completely inconsistent across the board, it's a little bit disheartening. It's a little bit frustrating, but and not to sound like a cheesy saleswoman right now, but I mean, Weed Pool being a co-op and doing this across the country, that's a consistency that's going to happen, right? Those are humble, good people that wanted to wanted to do cannabis the way it should have been, wanting to share their secret formula with every province.
Which
and
is
create
amazing.
I think packaging needs to be more consistent, kind of like pop, right? You've got your mini cans, bigger cans, bottles, 2 liters. Like, even if you're not the same entity, you're still going to do it in the same kind of containers, because grocery stores have a certain way of merchandising, right? And people have a certain idea of what size works for them, and they want that variety, but in the same can or the same bottle. People are particular. Some want that aluminum flavor, some want the plastic flavor. So I think that's going to be a really big one, is that I'd love to see more companies buying in bulk, like more cooperative style, and providing more a solid foundation of packaging that's easy for bud tenders and familiar for consumers as well. So I think, like, on a global scale, I think as these associations, so the RCCBC represents BC, but they're doing RCC SK in Saskatchewan, and we're that the goal is to have this across the country, have these groups take care of each province, but work in tandem to find a way to kind of unite the country a little bit more. And why do we have such choppiness within the industry? Like, I can understand taxes and things like that. Yes, provincially it will be different, but there's a lot that could be that could work a lot better. And I would love to see more products being able to be distributed across the country, instead of just only picking and choosing certain provinces that will work. And for example, in Quebec, like, they're very conservative about the edibles. Like, they didn't want to do gummies and things like that over there. So, we think we're behind with 10 milligrams of THC, but it's like, at least we have gummies. At least we have brownies to offer. So it's, you kind of have to count your blessings. Like, every province has its pros and cons. In Saskatchewan, like, you can go and hand out infused samples. That's the best way to get retailers and bud tenders to buy your product. Give them the product to try, build that trust. I don't want to have to ask people to buy something that I can't even try because it's not here.
I mean, and that's what other industries do. There's a new cheese spread, they give you a little sample to try. That's what happens. I think that's a big thing.
Yeah, it should be a little bit easier to have stuff across the board. And I just, like, obviously I want everything to be better. It can't happen in a day, and I want to work with as many people as I can, and the government, to make sure this is actually a feasible and prosperous industry. Because, like, I think it seems glamorous. Sometimes I feel like people just assume, like, we must be really successful and just be like swimming in dollars, like, no, this is a lot of volunteer work. This is a lot of community work. This is, like, there's so much more to it. And we're all just, like, trying to create a stable foundation, right? Like, we're not celebrities here. We're pioneers. We're hashing out all the fundamentals here, and then hopefully everyone else does a way better job. Right? I'm here to do the dirty work. That's okay.
That foundation.
Yeah. It's okay. And it's fun. So yes, like, globally, I think we all have sort of the same end goal in mind. But I think once we have more open transparent communication between the provinces within these types of associations that are just cannabis focused, not government run. That's when we're going to start to see some good changes and create some good consistency in like products, but also be able to just showcase local products as well, and bring a spotlight on Indigenous products and anything else that we want, right? I'm excited that more and more micros and like cultivators and things like that are coming to getting things going and allowing us to really enjoy the BC bud again. So I hope that every province gets to really scale up on their local products as well, and then hopefully do a little sharesies.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think that's really great, because of course there's a lot of import and export happening, but things being locally sourced is really important, and I think to shine a spotlight on local products is also a great way, to build up that area, and then, as you said, sharesies.
Yes. I envision it almost like, when you go to the wine store or liquor store and there's Italy and France and Spain, it's like, where's the aisle that's BC and the aisle that's Alberta, and like, I'm waiting for somebody to do that retail concept. I don't have time. So anybody that
anybody
yeah, just a small fee for that idea. But I think that would be amazing to have that store concept where you can really go and just pick and choose through the provinces and have them have them in the spotlight as well. So consistency on a larger scale, but as far as provincially, I think that we just want to start supporting as many of the small farmers and private and independent companies as much as we possibly can.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. And as you said, it's about, there's a lot about community in this industry, and we should be building each other up rather than trying to tear each other down, so we can all work together to build this out. And there are enough challenges. Let's not fight each other, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, Brittney, just a quick question on being a woman in the cannabis industry. What has that been like for you? Have there been any challenges? Have there been any memorable experiences as a woman in the cannabis industry? As a woman in the cannabis industry myself, it's something that I'd like to hear some stories from other women.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the good and the bad. I think a lot of women in the industry probably can relate to a lot of stories I have as well. But I think honestly, I've never been more proud to be a woman. And I genuinely, not to be rude or anything, but I genuinely try not to let myself focus on that. I love that women are in the industry, and I love that we support each other, but I love everybody. You know what I mean? Like, I just
people in this industry for sure.
I'm a very neutral, very metro human being, I think, to some degree, that I'm yes, sometimes I'm very much treated like I'm a woman, and that is someone else's perspective of me, and that's totally fine. Everyone is entitled to their own opinions, but for me, like, whether I'm in a room full of women or men or old or young or whatever, I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's been a consistent experience, and I think there's always going to be not so nice people out there. Just make sure you're not sitting at their table,
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great point. You'll find it in any industry, in any kind of place in the world, right? So it's just one of those things. And I think there are more good people in this industry than bad, just from my personal experience.
Yes. I mean, like, I'm very proud to be a woman, but I'm also like, that's the gender that has been assigned to me. Awesome. Anyway, like, so I think that it's yeah, I think it's great. I think I'd love to see more women in the industry, absolutely. Just because I know there is a lot of interest, and I think sometimes they're intimidated, but don't be. This is fantastic, and you're surrounded by love and friends and good people, and there's going to be all different depths to this industry. So just make sure you find the right group of people that you feel safe around, and you will flourish. Like, it's 2022, like we're so lucky to be in a world where we can have a job and live on our own and pick and choose what we want to do on a Friday night, and drink if we want to and smoke if we want to, and that's awesome. But it's also like, it's okay to just be like, we're all just, we're stoners, we're here, it's pretty awesome, and yeah, who cares, woman or man, right? Yeah.
I think one of the other things that maybe some people feel like they want to get into the cannabis industry, but they think, oh, I don't have any experience. But it's not always about the experience that you have in the cannabis industry. There are so many moving parts. There are so many jobs that you can do. We need lawyers, we need engineers, and all of that experience plays a role, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's important. And like, if I had to shed light, like, some of the most amazing people I have met in this industry are women, and they're doing some amazing work. Like, of course, my business partner, Constance Shaw, but
Yes.
yeah, the Collectors Cup, not yesterday, Wednesday, was amazing, and that's run by Julie, who runs CanReps, and I'm just completely in awe and inspired by her, because her focus is bud tenders. She knows who are the most important players here, and she knows that those bud tenders are the ones that are going to grow up the ladder and be the ones running these huge companies one day. So the fact that she's a huge role in educating them, and she, every time she speaks, something so fabulous comes out of her mouth, and you're like, oh my God, like, she's so intelligent. And these bud tenders are taking them back to the consumers, and it's like, she says it once, but it's said thousands of times after that, and it's a huge impression on the industry. So she has been a huge inspiration to me. Janet, who runs CBD Worldwide, and she does the Canna Golf Classics and all those fun events. Man, that woman works hard. She's incredible. I was very lucky to meet her and talk to her and work with her, and just see, what she's doing. Like, she just knows everyone. She's that lady. She's that boss lady. So that's amazing. Jacqueline Peyoda, who runs RCCBC, she's been like a role model to me for years, and now I get to work with her and all of them, and it's super cool. It's super cool. So yeah, definitely inspired by a lot of the women in this industry who've just, like, really, really catapulted the right kind of messages and impressions that this industry needs out there in the industry at, like, such a large capacity. So yeah, like, that definitely, when it comes to, like, being inspired by women, absolutely. Like, there's some, yeah, this is a great place to come and learn and grow. This industry is all about trial and error, and figuring things out. So being a little bit scared, having a little anxiety, that's normal.
Completely.
Package.
On that note, do you have any advice, since you have a lot of experience with helping businesses, any advice that you would give to people maybe wanting to break into businesses wanting to break into the cannabis industry? Where do they start? What advice would you give them?
You know what? I would firstly say, like, take whatever you can get, like, because that sounded bad. I don't mean it in that sense, but it's just, start at, like, bud tender, start wherever you can with a company, because you have to start somewhere, and there's not, like, don't just sit there and Google and watch a couple videos and think you're ready to run the show here. Like, if you want to go spend a couple months being a bud tender, even part-time, just to just to start learning, because there is so much to learn. And I think that, you know, starting out, like a starter level job, is actually very beneficial. Like, don't, and I'm not saying you're not worth a higher level job or you're not worth a higher wage, but you can almost learn more at a lower level, because once you start to move up, you have to specialize and you start having to be really good at that, like, one main thing. And a lot of people rely on you for that. So to have an opportunity to have something a little more ground level, where you get to just be around tons of product, tons of consumers, tons of reps, maybe it's a rep job, maybe it's, you know, bud tender job or buyer or something like that, where you're not really competition. You know what I mean? Like, you're open and lots of people will talk to you and lots of people will learn. So I think that when I started in this industry, I started as a random chick trying to find real estate for this guy who wanted to open cannabis stores. Like, that wasn't even my wheelhouse, you know? And then it kind of went to associate, like, do whatever needs to be done, maybe administration, random stuff here and there. So I had no idea. Like, I had been opening and running much larger businesses for years prior to this. So, you know, it was very much a step back, but I really appreciate that I did that at the time. And I didn't limit myself to just one brand, you know, or because when you start to work with brands, well, now you're limited, and now you are competition, and now you don't really have access to all the knowledge and information you would have had as a bud tender or a buyer or something. So my time working at that level and growing and growing and growing, like, that was the most impressionable time of my career. And I'm so grateful I had that, because you can tell when someone hasn't, you know. It's kind of like when you can tell someone's never had a retail or hospitality job.
Oh, yes.
I can
That's
tell
the
you've
best.
never done any cannabis retail. You really don't know what happens to once the product leaves the facility. It's like, meh, you know. And that's actually, now the story's starting. Now it's left the facility. Now the story of that product is starting, and that's what you don't want to miss out on, right? How is it perceived? What's the first impression a bud tender has when they take that out of the box and they're looking at your logo and branding and how it's all placed? And it's not all our fault, right? We have to have all those warning labels, but you miss out on those opportunities. So as far as transitioning into the industry, like, don't, you know, taking a humble approach at it might actually, you know, make you extremely successful. And go to as many networking and
Oh, yes.
whatever private little barbecues and book clubs you can. You will meet some very important, impressionable people there. Yep. Go to those collectors cups. You know, it's a cheap ticket. It's not even expensive. And you go and you get all of this education. And, you know, Bubble Man's there talking about hash and showing pictures of all the different products he's doing. And you're meeting all these reps, and you're meeting, you know, just amazing people, and people who are all about education. And you know, you meet Borrow and Beyond selling amazing like true quartz products, like accessories, dabbing, and things like that. So, you know, you like being out there and participating in the cannabis industry at these events where you can actually have open products at the table. Like, that's where you really learn and grow, and you meet the right people who are just as passionate as you to learn and grow as well. So that would, yeah, I'm not trying to sell a collector's cup or anything here. I'm so blown away. It only happened 2 days ago, so I'm still like, wow, I cannot believe there isn't thousands of people trying to go to this thing. Like, it's incredible.
It's amazing.
So,
I live in the wrong country. Like, I would love to be going to all of these events.
like, they all have consumption lounges, so everyone's smoking and just like enjoying gummies. And I mean,
That's very
it's
cool.
cool. It's pretty cool. It's legal. So
It's great.
yeah.
It's amazing. I love that. So Brittney, just to end off, what is next for you personally? What are some of your goals for the next year? Let's say it's nearly 2023. Can you believe it? What are your goals for the future?
Well, you know what? I think to my point earlier about I love bringing other people's dreams to fruition. I think I'd really like to focus more on some of my passions, like like products. Absolutely. Love to start bringing some of my brand concepts to life here. So that would be really amazing. And I've been working on that for a little while now. And yeah, I think that's kind of my next step, is as much as I love all the work that I'm doing, and of course I'm going to keep up with it all. I do think that I'm at that point where it's time to start pushing a few of my dreams forward. So I'm excited for that. Little confidential, but anyway.
Little sneak peek.
Well, just doing some more community work. I did a lot, and then I got really busy the last couple of months, and I'm really trying to, at least I try and do a big Christmas hamper each year, so I'm trying to at least pull that off, as well as find a way to kind of marry that, community and charity with cannabis as well, because I think that I love going to events, I love hosting events, I love community, charity, I love cannabis. I'm like, how do I bring all of this together? So I'm really trying to explore and see, and I'm again inspired by Julie. Just I want to explore what some more bud tender events look like, getting more retailers together, getting more reps and brand recognition together. I think that this is where people really learn and grow. And if retailers aren't sending their bud tenders to lift and things like that, I don't know if they're going to pay out of their own pocket. It's a high expectation of them, and some of these events are quite pricey, plus food and travel and everything else, and hotels. So if we can start doing more bud tender events, but having, tables set up where they can learn about all the different things going on, that's bud tender focused, not so much grow lights and things like that.
Yes.
That is something I want to explore more. Like, I think that there's room to grow those types of ideas. So yeah, that would be kind of what I'm hoping for 2023. I can add to my list of things.
Love that. I love that. I think that's very true, because I mean, a lot of events are quite general, it's grow lights, whatever the case may be. And something where bud tenders can connect, talk, share their story, share their information. I love that. I think that's a fantastic idea.
Yeah, I think that they are the most underappreciated, probably underpaid out of all of us in this industry. And it's not, I know how hard they work. I know that like every day is a risk in those stores. And you never know what's going to happen. One of the stores we opened was right beside a warming shelter. And so that came with a lot of challenges for the bud tenders and their security and everything. And so this is mentally, physically, exhausting. It's a tough job, and you're going in every day not really knowing what to expect. You never know what a customer is going to be like, right? And
retail is one of the most
yeah, it's a really tough job. So I think that, that should be more of the focus. We should be asking more bud tenders, like what products should we be doing? What do people want? What products, what packaging works? What do people gravitate towards? What colors do they like better? Like if we start asking those questions and working more and opening that communication up more between the micros and retailers and everyone else, like I think that we can see some really amazing stuff. So I think we just need to start really listening and appreciating, the people who really do know best, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, and they're their ideal focus group. As you said, they're seeing what the consumers are buying and liking on a daily basis. So I think there's a lot of value in that for sure.
Yeah.
So, yes, I know we're a little bit over the time, but thank you, Britt. Thank you so much for being here on CanMar Morning Talk Show. Really appreciate it. And
that's a wrap. Thanks for watching or listening to the CanMar Morning Talk Show. Join us next time for your weekly dose of cannabis and psychedelics updates from the industry's experts. But wait, before you go, did you know that CanMar is leading global change within the cannabis and psychedelics industry? We are building customizable ecosystems, providing solutions to recruitment, offering regulatory and compliance services, and building a marketplace and community hub for the global network. Some might say we are the future. If you haven't already, download the CanMar Hub app or check out our website at canmar.io to see what we're getting up to. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button below to hear more juicy insights from the movers and shakers of the cannabis and psychedelics industry. Until next time, stay dope. And that's a wrap. Thanks for watching or listening to the CanMar Morning Talk Show. Join us next time for your weekly dose of cannabis and psychedelics updates from the industry's experts. But wait, before you go, did you know that CanMar is leading global change within the cannabis and psychedelics industry? We are building customizable ecosystems, providing solutions to recruitment, offering regulatory and compliance services, and building a marketplace and community hub for the global network. Some might say we are the future. If you haven't already, download the CanMar Hub app or check out our website at canmar.io to see what we're getting up to. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button below to hear more juicy insights from the movers and shakers of the cannabis and psychedelics industry. Until next time, stay dope.